We were there when coronavirus wreaked havoc in our population. Together with other stakeholders, we formed the first line, controlling the spread of the unknown and unseen enemy of the people. Anxious ourselves, we collected dead bodies countrywide. At the time when no one wanted to come near dead bodies of loved ones, we did care for our fellow citizens. Thank you, the people of Eswatini and teams of first responders.
Free shopping is back at Spar, where we're putting smiles on the faces of thousands of Spar Rewards customers when they win their shopping for free. Just shop any participating product, swipe your Spar Rewards card and go big with 2 kg Spar IQF mixed chicken portions for only $65.99 and Jacob's Groningen coffee, bottle or refill for just $89.99. Win your shopping instantly, only at Spar.
Good evening, this is the Eswatini TV News at 8. I am Natile Sitole alongside Zamanzi Manze. First up, let's have a look at our top stories. His Majesty King Mswati III has held talks with the President of the Democratic Republic of Congo on the recently concluded SADC Ordinary Summit. The Deputy Prime Minister has encouraged Vulamasango High School learners to concentrate on their studies and avoid distractions. The Ministry of Commerce is working on introducing business services at the Tinkundla centers. Glad you could join us. His Majesty King Mswati III held talks with the President of the Democratic Republic of Congo during a working lunch that was hosted by the President. The talks come after the King signed SADC protocols on behalf of the country during the closing ceremony of the now concluded SADC Ordinary Summit in Kinshasa. His Majesty was accompanied by Nkosikazi Lankambule during his working trip in the DRC.
Relations between Eswatini and the Democratic Republic of Congo are set to take a giant leap forward following the bilateral engagement between His Majesty the King and the President. His Majesty arrived at the Presidential Palace in Kinshasa to fortify relations between the two states during the working lunch that the President hosted for the King. It was indeed a high-level tripartite meeting like no other, as His Majesty and the President were briefly joined by another head of state, Her Excellency Samia Hassan, President of the Republic of Tanzania. All three countries have formal ties and participate in common organizations like SADC and the African Union. Meanwhile, the closing ceremony of the SADC summit saw the signing of 5 SADC legal instruments. His Majesty demonstrated Eswatini's commitment to the SADC agenda by signing an agreement amending the SADC Treaty on the transformation of the SADC Parliamentary Forum into a SADC Parliament and an agreement amending the protocol on the development of tourism in the region. His Majesty the King also signed a protocol against trafficking in persons, which provides a framework of cooperation between member states in combating trafficking in persons and associated transnational organized and cross-border crimes in the region. The summit further adopted a memorandum of agreement among member states for the establishment of the SADC Humanitarian and Emergency Operations Center that will be hosted by the Republic of Mozambique, which was referred to ministers responsible for disaster risk management for signature. The SADC Executive Secretary Elias Mahosi revealed that SADC was briefed on the security developments in Eswatini and that it condemned the violence that has been playing out in the kingdom and called for a peaceful, lasting solution. On the other hand, Nkosikazi Lankambule was joined by First Ladies and the former First Lady of Zimbabwe, Grace Mugabe, in participating in a program that was prepared for the First Ladies. Nkosikazi viewed exhibition stands that displayed products of local entrepreneurs during a guided tour of the National Museum of the Democratic Republic of Congo. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Sandile Makanya in Kinshasa.
The Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku has encouraged Vulamasango High School learners to avoid anything that might distract them on their education in future, including substance abuse, teenage pregnancy, and bullying, amongst other things. Masuku dialogued with the learners on gender-based violence as part of his continued engagement with learners on GBV.
As part of commemorating the Youth Day, the Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku continued dialogues with learners on gender-based violence. The Deputy Prime Minister visited Vulamasango School in company of the Minister of Education, Lady Howard, the Minister of Constitutional Affairs, Polile Shakanto, and the Commissioner General of His Majesty's Correctional Services, Pindile Dlamini, to talk with the learners under the theme Gender-Based Violence, Eliminating All Sorts of Violence Against Children in Eswatini, Our Collective Responsibility. They started touring the school projects where he was shown around the school, including dormitories, the school's kitchen, agriculture department, science laboratory, the computer laboratory, shoe knitting, and of course the hydropower section, which got them position 1 in this year's Junior Achievement Schools competition. The Deputy Prime Minister encouraged the learners to desist from all sorts of wayward behavior, including substance abuse, bullying, harassment, amongst others.
Substance abuse, insango ama-drugs nako konke lokwenta ukuthi ingqondo ibe nzinzima ingakhoni ukubuka ifocus. Ngithi-ke bantwana abakucabange lokho lokunye lokuyingoti lokuyi-violence lokungeta kulenye form of violence indzaba ye-teenage pregnancy. I want to say that and repeat that. Teenage pregnancy, that is violence.
He applauds the school's management for instilling good behavior and morals on the learners. He says they will commemorate the Youth Day throughout the year till next year. Luyanda Dlamini thanked on behalf of the learners, saying they are grateful for such a dialogue.
Our teachers, we know that you came here for different reasons, but we thank you so much that you helped us in everything. If I recall, when I first came into this place, I was a timid introvert student. I only knew that life is all about me. But today here, I am proud and confident to say I am a product, delivering this grace to speak to all of you.
Amongst other things, the learners asked for online learning education as other schools have adopted such, especially during the era of COVID-19. Reporting, I am Kian MCB with Vumingo Sinzinisa, Luyengo.
The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mancoba Khumalo, says the ministry is working on setting up business services at Inkundla centers. The minister has been speaking when closing a Mangongo Inkundla business development workshop where 54 Mangongo residents were trained in business management.
To promote development and growth of Eswatini economy through business, the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade has started a Inkundla Business Development Program. The program started at Mangongo Inkundla, where 54 people were trained by the ministry in business planning, financial management and marketing, amongst others. Speaking during a graduation ceremony at the Mangongo Inkundla on Friday, the Minister of Commerce, Mancoba Khumalo, said to provide a conducive environment for doing business in the country, the ministry is working on bringing all the ministry's business requirements, including registration, to the Inkundla centers.
Lama services leswa offerisha usifuna ukuthi abuye la enkundleni ungadinga ukuthi ugibele ibhasi uye edolobheni kuyawuthola i-trading license ngiyabhekisa. Ungadzingi ukuthi ugibele ibhasi uye edolobheni kuyawubhalisa ibhizinisi. Ungadzingi ukuthi ugibele ibhasi uyawubhadala ka-revenue. Konke kwenteke la ithutane kwenteke nangelicingo lwakho. Lokhu-ke siyakusebenta vele kuyaphuthuma kakhulu etiko sentela lokuthi uma sowuthola leli order lakho batakubuta lena ukuthi oh kepha iphi trading license ukhanze ukuthi seyinvolelula lo soyithola.
Mangongco Inkundla, Member of Parliament, One Boy Zikalala, said business requires patience.
Business now yenda inale ngqondo. Uma wenda ibusiness umuntu lo into business ujaka profit. Umuntu ke uthi angayicala ibusiness bese ujaka kudla. Utawudlala nale business ingakahle. Business iyayidzinga ipatience. Singakusina wenda ibusiness wente info loyithandzako.
Speaking on behalf of the trainees, Amos Seyama promised that they are going to start sustainable businesses that will contribute to the country's economy.
Bafunzi siyanthembisa atawuvuka emabhizinisi langayembili la eMangongco enkundleni.
The Minister of Commerce will be in the Mandlangempisi Nkundla next week for the Business Development Project. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samkel Suekoza with Sekombuzo Dlamini, Mangongco.
The House of Senate says the Ministry of Public Service should establish a housing management board to oversee the maintenance of government houses. This has been said in Parliament during the adoption of the ministry's first quarter performance report for the financial year 2022-2023.
On Thursday, the House of Senate began the adoption of Portfolio Committee's reports on the ministry's first quarter performance reports for the 2022-2023 financial year. Before adopting the Ministry of Public Services performance report, senators recommended that the ministry establish a housing management board to oversee the maintenance of government houses. Delivering the recommendations before the House, Senator Khanyisile Malambe said most government houses are in poor condition due to poor maintenance by civil servants, and the government uses a lot of money to maintain these houses. Senator Khanyisile was seconded by Senator Moimoy Masilela on the motion.
Njalo ukuthi ngiyamsekela kulele kakhulumako kakhulu nalokuthi nje le property yahulumende angathi sitawo vele siqaleni lokuyinaka ngoba nawubuka konje kude uhulumende la kwakhako bese kuyanakeka emva kuba sekwakhiwa ngaba ngumgwaqo kungaba yini noma yindlu kanjalo into sekwesabeka le structure bese uyabuta usivele nasisakha ngoba somthelo solo siyathela ongemali futhi sekuna SRA lokoleka more man futhi ke asizame lokuthi into iproperty yahulumende ibukeke.
Senators in the House then supported the motion.
Ngiyakhumbula lokuthi ayiqali kuvela lenzaba yaletindlu leti ikakhulu sake sacela i-inventory yato letindlu ukuthi mangabe bedinga ke setibukeke ngoba sekukhona lesetilahlekile thina bantwana bayitolo lesikhulu esibona thina bedila sesibona sekunetitolo noma sekwaba lihhovisi noma asathi ukuthi lo mhlaba wahulumende bowulapho naletindlu tasedishona
ingabe kupossible ini ukuthi ngaba khona housing management board lengaba ne mhlambe banikete kube neschedule lesithi lihlola letindlu lasetimaintainiwe does daba maintained letindlu lihlole letindlu ku record esimaintaine kuphi nakuphi nakuphi and then after that uma umuntu aenda budlapha kuletindlu tahulumende vele abe forced ukuthi ay renovate lendlu.
The House of Senate then adopted the report of the Portfolio Committee on the Ministry of Public Service First Quarter Performance Report for the 2022-2023 financial year. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samkel Suekoza with Sekombuzo Dlamini, Parliament.
Senators say the House of Senate is working with the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs to have the ministry's budget allocation increased for the 2023-2024 financial year. This was during the adoption of Portfolio Committee's reports on the government ministry's first quarter performance reports for the 2022-2023 financial year.
On Thursday, when the House of Senate resumed its parliamentary business, Senator Khanyisile Malambe moved that the Senate adopts the report of the Portfolio Committee of the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs on the debate of the ministry's first quarter performance report for the financial year 2022-2023 with the committee's recommendations. One of the recommendations was that the government needs to increase the budget allocation for the Ministry of Sports. One of the recommendations was that the government needs to increase the budget allocation for the Ministry of Sports in the next financial year. Senator Khanyisile Malambe was seconded by Senator Busisiwe Dlamini on the motion.
Sinyele sikhalo sethu sabasinyele sikhalo sethu portfolio nokunye singete sakuthinza kakhulu ngoba naleli tiko kwalona limcoka kangaka lisengakemi kahle ngetindzaba temthetho waleli tiko ngokulo kwasiphazamisa kakhulu leli tiko lelimcoka noma umbaqendeka liphindze lisebenzisane na Ministry of Agriculture ngoba lemakhaya nje kakhulu kuyalinywa kwendiwa lokwa yebo liyasebenza kancane kodwa hayi kangako ngoba leli tiko la agriculture nalamaplazi babambisane ngani bakuphila lamaswati.
In support of the motion, Senator Prince Langabeza said a country's success lies on the development of the youth.
Kanzilive ngabe liqhubani nangabe aliqhubi insha lemuva. Jopele maswati alikhulumile igama nqandi. Athi live umlibalo embili. Ngoba noma ngakwenda konke lokunye lembili. Nakusele lemuva lomliba likhulela kuyakuphi yebo. Lithemba lokuswakhe umuthi ngilokuthelele emuva. Kepha nasho ukuthi akubonakala ukuthi kambe bamba ukusekela ngabe kona wakhele ele inlo.
The House of Senate then adopted the Portfolio Committee's report. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samkel Suekoza-Worth Sikhumbuzo Dlamini, Parliament.
The Ministry of Information, Communications and Technology, Principal Secretary Pesha Dube, challenges all eMaswati to keep their private archives and deposit to the National Archives for posterity. Dube said this during the commemoration of International Archives Day at the Eswatini National Archives.
The International Archives Day is commemorated on the 9th of June annually. Eswatini decided to celebrate the day on Friday. During the event, the Minister of Information, Communications and Technology, Princess Khanyisile, was represented by the Ministry's Principal Secretary, Pesha Dube. Dube says archives are pivotal in ensuring good governance and accountability.
Archives preserves the country's documentary heritage as a memory of the nation. They are not just passive containers of our memory, but rather proactive agents that shape our memory. Archives embody the values of society and its dignity. They bring to life the voices of our ancestors from long ago. It is for this very reason that communities and entire nations alike retain archives as means of remembering and connecting with their past and their origins. As a Maswati, we take immense pride to being one of the few nations that still preserves its cultural fiber, as can be evidenced by our annual cultural festivities such as Umhlanga, Bukanu ceremony, Ingwala, Budimba, and many others.
Eswatini National Archives Director Ncoba Msibi says Eswatini record-keeping rate is not impressive.
Most organizations are starting to document most of their records and keep them appropriately for future reference. However, there's a very few of them who are able to transfer them to the National Archives for long-term preservation and posterity. Within government, we are trying to mobilize government ministries and departments to transfer their records to the Eswatini National Archives.
The theme of this year's International Archives Day is Archives Are You. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Smova Shonge Lobamba.
In a statement from the Office of the Government spokesperson, government would like to provide the following clarity on circulating reports to the effect that SADC would be deploying a panel of elders to the Kingdom of Eswatini to address the country's political situation. On the 17th of August 2022, SADC released a communique highlighting the resolutions taken by summit during the 42nd Ordinary Summit of the SADC Heads of State and Government that took place in Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo. The resolutions highlighted in the communique are the official position that SADC has taken on the matter regarding the Kingdom of Eswatini and other issues that were addressed at summit. Any other assertions as to the processes that will follow regarding the Eswatini matter are therefore not a reflection of what was agreed on at the summit. Lastly, government remains committed to finding a lasting solution to the current political challenges facing the country and awaits the extraordinary summit of the Organ Troika plus Eswatini to be held at a date to be determined as mandated by summit. MTN Eswatini, in partnership with Huawei, has officially launched the first 5G experience in Eswatini. The launch was held at the company's head office in Eswatini, and we have a report.
The 5G network is the latest version of networks also used in much developed countries. MTN Eswatini will be driving the 5G proof of concept for a period of 3 months. The head of business enterprise at MTN, Thandazile Dlamini, says a total of 2 sites will be deployed as means of running the trial phase.
We expect that with the advent of the 5G, there will be economic improvements in that organizations or different businesses will be able to drive efficiencies within their different industries.
The Chief Executive Officer for the Eswatini Communications Commission, Mvilawempi Dlamini, says when the Commission renewed MTN's license in 2018, one of the strict conditions set was the improvement and modernization of its network infrastructure.
5G is the 5th generation cellular network technology. It is designed to improve network connections by addressing the legacy issues of speed, latency, and utility, which the earlier generations could not address. 5G is promised to deliver data speed at a rate 100 times faster than 4G networks. It is not only about more capacity, more content, more speed, but it's also about network infrastructure that is easy and pervasive as the air we breathe. One that can be used for all sorts of different and personalized usages.
The 5G network covers a distance of up to 700 meters from where it is installed. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Thandukuhle Mdluli, Ezulwini.
Cottage factory in Manzini, which will be utilized by 40 Maswati, including females, young people, as well as people living with disabilities, has been officially unveiled. This project is funded by United Nations Development Programme, UNDP.
The United Nations Development Programme pumped in over 3 million emalangeni, and it is distributed to 6 organizations, and Vukan Bomage project is one of the beneficiaries. Each organization received 500,000 emalangeni. Vukan Bomage project president Toki Hau elaborates about the cottage factory.
We have 2 different groups of women. The one are women from the rural areas of Manzini. The other one, it is all the women in Manzini that are living with disability. They are producing beautiful garments that they are selling obviously in the city of Manzini, and the program that we are doing for them, we want to get them into the export market where they will understand how the factory operates and work in the kingdom, so that they will also be part of the exporters of the good garments made in Eswatini.
United Nations Development Programme Deputy Resident Representative Sheni Bon says this initiative will have a positive impact on Eswatini.
Well, first of all, I just actually had a tour of the facility, and I saw, women with different disabilities and men, and they have a job now, and they're working, and they're excited, and they're designing, clothes, designing, artisans, and ultimately the bottom line for all of us is to earn a living and feed our families. And if everyone can have that, I think that is what socioeconomic development really is about. If we can expand this to those that do not have a job, I think that already is a start.
One of Amaswat that will be using the coated factory in Manzini is Tombi Shonge, who expresses her happiness over the opening of the coated factory. She hopes it will change their lives in a positive way.
Kushiwa everybody long mage kushiwa yena ukuthi naye akacabangisise kahle atibuthe angagathi ukuthi imali tochamuka kubabe kuphela.
The United Nations Development Programme encourages the Amaswat to come up with impressive business concepts so they could be funded. Manzini Mayor Quentin Els says the cottage is built on a 300,000 Malangeni land availed by the Ministry of Housing and Development. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Smova Shonge Manzini.
And now we'll have a look at our financial markets.
Standard Bank. It can be.
Moving on, we'll have a look at our sports news. Minister for Sports, Harris Bulunga, says the ministry has invested around 120,000 Malangeni in Netball Association to assist the national team for preparations of the World Cup qualifiers in the Republic of South Africa. Minister Bulunga revealed this when bidding farewell to the team ahead of their trip to Pretoria, South Africa for the World Cup qualifiers.
Netball national team has left the country to Pretoria in South Africa to take part of the World Cup qualifiers against African countries. Bidding farewell to the team, the Minister for Sports, Harris Bulunga, says the ministry has invested around 120,000 Malangeni to the Netball Federation to try boost their confidence in the team to get a qualification for the World Cup Games.
Majesty's government remains committed to helping you as sports people to grow and reach your full potential. Thus, we are pleased to announce that government, through the ministry, has provided about 120,000 Malangeni to support you as a team so that you can take part at these crucial qualifiers. We're hopeful that this is a worthy investment, and we have no doubt that you will make the country proud in Pretoria.
Ntombi Masango, the Netball Association president, says they have supported the team in preparations and they hope to see the team getting positive results in Pretoria.
Balungile abadlali bethu bokhoshi bawendile umsebenzi siyethemba siyakholwa ukuthi livela kangwane sitalibuyisa emephini.
Team captain Abigail Smelanes assured the nation that they will fight and try to get qualification to the World Cup.
Landvuna ukuthi ngoba vele live salethembisa ukuthi siyo qualify ntweni siyaya ku 2023 World Cup.
Eswatini's first game will be against Uganda on Monday next week. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports, I'm Linda Dlamini. Mbabane.
And with that, we sum up our bulletin for the evening. Up next is the weather update. From myself and the team, thank you for your company. Take care.